Welcome to the Built Environment, everyone. I'm Tyler Kern. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'm going to be bringing you two incredible pieces of content today, the first of which is a short-form documentary exploring the importance of trade schools in helping us fill the labor gap that we're facing in so many industries. When we were little, we all had dreams of being an astronaut or a singer or even president of the United States. But as we grew up, we were told to think of more realistic jobs like a dentist, a teacher, or even a lawyer. To achieve this, many children are encouraged from a young age to attend 4-year colleges and universities upon completion of their high school diploma. The stigma of vocational education in the United States is very real, with many believing trade schools are the last choice. It's time to recognize college isn't the only path to a successful life.
The cost of higher education has exploded. And so a lot of parents are sitting down with their kids and saying, do we want to spend $50,000 a year for a 4-year degree? Is that really what we want? The second thing that's happening is students themselves are looking and saying, what's the benefit of me going to college? I'm not sure I'm right for the classroom, and I want to get hands-on in a career. And so all of those influences combined are disrupting education and improving as we speak.
The trades are comprised of a large pool of occupations, from construction to plumbing, nuclear medicine technician to radiation therapist, and real estate appraiser to a dental hygienist. The trades go far beyond what many people think of when it comes to vocational education tracks. But the shortage of skilled labor in the United States is at a critical stage, and it's predicted to get worse before it gets better.
I think we're in big trouble. We're in serious trouble in this country and globally. You know, around a huge gap in skill development. There's 7.1 million job openings, but there are only 6.2 million people to fill those slots. You know, so we have, and this is several years ago, we have almost 2 million jobs that go unfulfilled because there are not enough skill sets around to fill those jobs.
I think that the trade schools need to be expanded, opened up, and presented in a more favorable light. I don't think the younger generation understands that there's money to be made out there, that there's a future out there. So right now, I think there is a lack of exposing young people to trade schools, and I think that needs to change.
In certain industries, there are certain groups that are really aging out, which are creating some significant gaps that are going to happen in the next 5 or 6 years in certain industries where there's going to be a massive gap for employment because you're going to have a lot of people aging out of those industries. So it's really important to educate young people. I'm talking from at a very young age, educating them on what opportunities are out there other than the standard traditional square box jobs, right? Doctor, lawyer, et cetera, that I think that a lot of people don't look at construction, but it's a fantastic field in particular where people can make a lot more, depending on what their role is, than you would see in most traditional jobs or careers.
When jobs go unfilled, it hurts our country. It hurts the country in two different ways because one, we're not building that tribal knowledge of worker. On the other hand, it affects businesses because they can't earn revenue, therefore profit, therefore stay in business because they can't simply get the work done. The worst thing you can do is propose work and be granted the work and then not fulfill the work. So we have to be guarded as an industry right now to make sure that we're taking on the appropriate amount of work to perform well, to earn well, and to keep the population working and to deliver a good product.
According to a 2021 skilled trades report by Angie, across the skilled trades, 68% of employers found it difficult to find employees, with 33% saying it was impossible to fill roles.
My advice to the companies who rely on workers going through trade school is to try and pitch in or to support the trade schools by coming into the trade schools and doing presentations saying, this is what our companies have to offer, this is what we do and how we do it. I think it's very important that they sell their company and the attributes of that company and why somebody out of a trade school should be attracted to them.
Service Logic, the company that I work for, has worked very diligently to become creative in how we are recruiting and how we're showcasing skilled trades opportunities. Everything from going to junior high schools for career days, supporting local apprenticeships. By working with current technology, being AR, VR, you name it, we're exploring and working through and learning ourselves of how to use these technologies to help recruit with, because the more advanced we become as a society and become more digitally dependent, so too does our industry. So we're incorporating a lot of the digital techniques, I guess you would call it, that we live with every day. We're really using that technology to show our younger generation, hey, you can be an air conditioning guy and still enjoy all the benefits of electronics and technology and learning every day by using these tools.
With the majority of the current trade labor force trending towards retirement, the sense of urgency to find a solution that fills roles in the skilled trades is a solution that companies and organizations are going to need a bit of creativity to solve. Current recruiting methods are simply not meeting demand, and the opportunities are huge. Great salaries, gainful employment, service to others, and job stability are a few of the many perks to be found in the trades.
Some parts of the world have done better than we have, even though the United States is catching up rapidly in this area, and that is apprenticeships, elevating the trades in terms of making all trades appealing to people of all walks of life and all skill levels. Look at the complexities of the skills required in all aspects of work today. It's incumbent on educational institutions, whether it's K-12, post-secondary, make students understand that there are great opportunities in the workforce, and that to be successful in the workforce today, you have to have a certain academic skill foundation and then certification and licensureship to be able to get those jobs.
The bottom line, vocational education needs to return to a top-of-mind option for students.
We're on this huge skills gap that we don't have enough people to fill these STEM jobs, these jobs that require scientific backgrounds and so on. New technology can provide an opportunity to help close that gap. And our CTE programs, likewise, can provide an opportunity for not just our students, but young adults, opportunity. So we can take advantage of this through technology and the changing landscape of society overall.
When it comes to the world of interior design, Amber Clore, owner of A. Clore Interiors, is recognized as one of the best. Host Gabrielle Bejarano spoke to her as part of MarketScale's Dig Your Heels In series about her success and her path to leadership.
Hello and welcome to Dig Your Heels In, a working woman series. I'm your host, Gabrielle, and I'm so excited to have guest Amber Clore joining me today. Amber graduated from Florida State University and opened the doors of her interior design business in 2012. Since then, she's developed an impressive list of clienteles, including NBA and NFL athletes, elected officials, and Disney Celebration resorts, and has been showcased on HGTV and House.com, and many more. Welcome, Amber.
My name is Amber Clore, and I'm a licensed interior designer. I am the owner of a creative, exciting interior design firm in the historic downtown Sanford district of Florida.
Oh, wow, Florida. I love it there. I read you started laying tile at an early age. Could you please walk me through your journey of when your love for design started and how you got to where you are today and how that led you to creating Aclor Interiors?
Yes, so I knew when I was really young I was going to be an interior designer. I would say instead of being outside and hanging out and playing on the playground. I was more inside, rearranging my room, creating a environment for myself and my younger sister. We shared a room, so I had to create, a space that we could both live in and love, but also be our own. So I think from a very young age, I was already practicing the principles and practices of interior design. Luckily, I took a elective class in ninth grade that was an interior design class. So definitely consider myself one of the ones that found out what they kind of wanted to do and my path when I was really young. I geared all my studies to go to interior design school and work, in the field as a professional interior designer. I never knew back then that I would have my own company, but here we are. I've had Aclor Interiors for almost 10 years now. In May, we'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Oh,
And we
congratulations.
help clients all over Central Florida. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we help clients all over Central Florida and the Florida area in creating spaces and environments that uplift and are healthy and safe and, of course, attractive. That's the cost of me calling myself an interior designer, but really harnessing, the helping families and business owners create spaces that really uplift and match their personalities.
That's incredible. And I'm sure your sister loved that, sharing the room and having your help with that interior design because you have a great eye. I've seen your work. It's very pretty.
Thank you.
I had a question about rising material costs and how you've seen that impact the design industry or even your company as a whole. Has that affected you at all?
Absolutely. I think there's definitely a struggle, and like you mentioned, in probably every industry, blame it on whatever. There's definitely some shortages we're seeing in the supply chain, and not only just materials, but people as well. So if there's not somebody there to help make the material, it's hard to put it on the shelf. So we're definitely feeling those growing pains as we navigate kind of this new climate of materials and sourcing and outsourcing elements that we are able to find. One thing I would say though, being a savvy business owner and wanting to help our clients is we work with a lot of vendors that are, to the trade. So we've spent years of creating relationships with our vendors so that in times like this, when I can or don't, maybe aren't able to get something readily, I have my back end sources that are to the trade that we can help a homeowner get things done a little bit quicker than maybe in a normal box store.
Now, are there any trends that are appearing in the industry right now in relation to that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like shipping and material costs go, and when it comes to building materials, just because it's lack of getting them and a lack of sourcing, we are seeing cost rise when it comes to just basic building materials like wood, drywall, even the mud, and glue to put it all together is rising in cost. So, I'd anticipate and hope that inflation will come down, but with short supply chains, it's hard to say. So saying if you want to do a project, do it now because it's only going to get harder and more expensive to do in the future.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. And now I've got a stat here for you. So, according to Zippia, so 72.7% of all interior designers are women, while 22.4% of them are men. However, only 30% of women are actual leaders of firms. So, I've got kind of a three-part question here for you. How do these statistics make you feel? And how did you navigate your own path through this, especially with the dominated leadership in the industry? And what do you want women to know specifically about leadership and encouragement towards more inclusivity?
So first I say, as far as, to the, mostly women, a few good men, that is what we say. In a room of interior designers, there's just a few good men that will stand out. But I think that interior design is very creative, and then it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. I think creative energy flows through all of us. So if somebody harnesses the fact that interior design is their niche or their career path, then I promote that no matter what. But predominantly we see women in interior design roles. I think there's another stat, which I don't know the number, so I'm not going to try and pretend I do, but there is a stat on interior designers in commercial and in residential. A lot of interior designers in the commercial realm work for a larger umbrella, like an architect or an engineering firm, and a lot of those are held. The CEO, C-suite positions are held by men, and that's just the way of the industry. Architects are predominantly men, and interior designers are predominantly women. So kind of breaking that stigma and like merging us all together. We all do communicate in one room together and work on a project as a whole. But there is definitely, you can see some very drastic stats when it comes to women in the commercial industry versus women-owned businesses in the residential field as well.
And the last part of that question, which I think is important, is what did you want women to know about specifically about leadership and encouraging more inclusivity within this field?
Yeah, I mean, I think interior design in itself is a creative field. So you can really take the directive any way you would want to go. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to open up your own interior design firm and serve the community or serve the masses. I think there's many areas that women can lead in interior design, whether it's behind the scenes as a partner to a business owner, whether it's a representative of another company where you're speaking the interior design language, but you're representing a product or a manufacturer. So I always say to even our interns that we have here at the studio that are still in school, it is, don't focus on, I have to be a residential or commercial designer and know exactly what I want. Learn the industry, learn where you can go, and just know you have no idea where your path could take you and what, role you could play in the industry.
That's some really good advice that anybody can take in any field. Thanks for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you ever feel that you had to overcome male leadership or roles? And if so, how did you make your voice heard in those instances?
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel it every day, being the interior designer, woman and a man, a sea of men, contractors, architects who I always say, it's great to be part of the conversation and part of the circle. Never once do I walk in thinking that I know exactly what the architect or the contractor knows, but being able to work as a team environment. But certainly, there's been times where as a young, business owner growing through my company, maybe not taken as seriously. And so it takes a little bit of extra communication or a little bit of extra like showing my stuff, if you will, to kind of break that barrier. But certainly I think in any, industry, whether it's age or, there is that realm of, really becoming an expert, and how do you prove that to your peers? And it's something I've certainly had to do over the years.
Did you have any obstacles in this specific vein, speaking to that, specific obstacles that you can speak of that you overcame or that you learned from, or that someone can learn from your own experience from those obstacles?
I can't think of any like major obstacles. I mean, really, I have the ability to, kind of have that blue ocean strategy and think of a way that I can position my company and my business to help another business to business, whether it is an architect, contractor, male or female, right? Looking at it that direction, it's really how can we help each other in moving both of our, businesses forward, and or our project or our client, or what the end goal is. So I really like the team mentality over that. And so if I was going to have a struggle, it would be trying getting everybody on that team mentality. And in construction and design, anything can be done. It's if you have somebody who has that same mentality of anything can be done, and it's not just no the first time. I think that's a helpful working relationship when creativity can flow and you have somebody who's willing to see that creative side.
For sure, for sure. And how should more female and male leaders contribute to helping bringing more women into leadership roles? Like, how could they both help or assist?
I mean, I think it's again like kind of that leg up, helping each other up, up the hill in a sense. I know that men and women have very different traits. And when you look at, the leadership and transformational leadership in women and men, we do as women, we're all really expressive. We plan for the future. We're loyal. We have flexibility. And not that men don't have that too, but I think the common core that we both have as men and women is like decisiveness, resiliency. Those are the things where I think men and women can come together on those two words, because they really do depict both of us, even though women sometimes have more soft words that may describe them, and men have a little bit more hard words that describe them. There is a medium ground where we can come together.
How have you felt that you have contributed in your industry to help bring more female leadership?
Oh gosh. So in so many ways. So, just running a firm of, 3 to 4, women interior designers, and we've definitely had men here in the firm as well. So not at all, specific to that. Running a team, young women who are passionate about interior design and just want to learn more and get involved. Also taking, interns from the college is really exciting, and getting young women involved in the professional conversation so they can start learning things from the get-go, instead of going into the world of interior design and not really knowing the footings that you would need to get through an association. I'm past president of my American Society of Interior Design chapter. So as far as holding lots of leadership roles, of course, from a volunteer standpoint, just really having the passion to want to see other people succeed. So it's not so much competition, it's more collective, collaborative, and like growing, because that's just going to help, further our career or further our industry. If we get better and more, exciting projects and interior designers in the industry.
What are some action items that men and women can take to supporting minimizing the wage gap in the industry?
I think it's really looking at our roles. These days we can see that, men and women can function in the same roles and have the same results. But if we were comparing us apples to apples, which is really probably never been done, something we're trying to strongly go towards, but looking at our job roles and realizing that we're really doing the same things, and then how does that equate, in a dollar amount of some sort that everybody feels, equitable. I guess that's the right word. We use that a lot. It's equitable. Is it, dollar for dollar? It all just, I guess, depends on, what your goals are in that, equality.
What advice would you give to women in the workplace, coming from your experience, who are new to the workplace or just even climbing through the ranks? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I think it goes to, the opportunities that you're given. And one thing I can say, and getting to where I'm at now, and even having maybe this amazing opportunity that I have in chatting with you, is that I just kind of say yes to things that, maybe I feel uncomfortable with or aren't a little outside of my comfort zone. I just say yes and roll with it. And you just never know who you're going to meet, what opportunities you're going to get, and, where your career can go if you just, put yourself in there just a little bit.
That's good. That's good life advice. Just say yes. Be open to all possibilities, right? I think there's a movie like that or something. Was there anything else you wanted to add before we take off? Any further advice?
No, I mean, I just appreciate the time and the questions, the very thoughtful questions. And it's really important that we're talking around, women in leadership, and just thought leaders and transformational leadership, I think is so important. So hats off and kudos to you guys for having the conversation.
Of course. And, this conversation couldn't happen without you, right? Women leadership. So thank you so much for taking the time today to share your knowledge and come on with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks again to Amber for joining us today. To hear more episodes, be sure to visit MarketScale's show page and wherever it is you get your podcasts.
Well, that is going to do it for our May month in review show from MarketScale. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Now make sure to subscribe to our weekly newsletters to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis that matters most to you in your industries. For all of our excellent hosts today, I'm Tyler Kern. We'll talk to you again very soon.